Welcome to The Awakened Heart, a podcast for healing women, a podcast for women who are ready to reclaim their voice, soften their armor, and rise. Because survival is not your whole story. Healing is your return to yourself. I'm your host, Autumn Moran, therapist, coach, and companion on the path of coming home to yourself. Here we talk about the things that live under the surface: trauma, ADHD, burnout, grief, identity, and the quiet yearning for more. Each episode is an invitation to soften, to be seen, and to reconnect with the truth of who you are beneath the coping and the chaos. Because healing isn't a destination, it's a homecoming. And you don't have to do it alone. You're exactly where you need to be. So let's dive in. Today's episode is one that just sparked excitement in me to want to share with you. It really speaks to me because it's something so many of us live through but rarely name out loud. And what I'm talking about is about survival-based decisions. Decisions we make or have made in our 20s and 30s. Not because they were deeply aligned with who we were or who we wanted to be, but because they felt safe, familiar, or just quite fucking necessary, right? This is for the woman looking back and wondering why she chose what she did and wondering who she's allowed to become now. I remember making decisions in my 20s that looked strong on the outside, but honestly, they were rooted in fear, loneliness, or a need to control. For some sort of control, right? I stayed in relationships longer than I should have. I tolerated mistreatment from so many because it felt familiar, because I thought that was love. I said yes to things I didn't want, hoping that I was doing the right thing and it was just me that was messed up and I just needed to go along with the rest of the world. Or because saying no felt too dangerous, too risky. Threatened my quote-unquote well-being, right? Saying no meant I had to disappoint or lose people that ultimately weren't very good for me or my well-being in the first place. Honestly, truthfully, I was mad at that version of myself for a bit when I woke up and I started to see where I was and question my mortality and just starting to be humbled by aging. And because I've healed my trauma and I'm not a different person, but I'm a different version, of course. But I was also very mad for her for much longer. I wanted to right the injustice for my younger self. I wanted to do it over. I wanted to do it my way. But I had to find ways to love myself despite the trauma-based choices. I had to forgive myself for not being able to be the best for myself, for my children, for my friends, for my family. It took a lot of cognitive reframing and a lot of self-love and healing that got me to have so much compassion for all the versions of myself. The version of me who did what she had to do to get through it. Because sometimes life goes full speed ahead before we have the opportunity to slow down and make sense of it all. And it's never too late, my dears. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, you always have the power to change your mind, to change course, and to start anew. When we're living from trauma, especially unprocessed or unacknowledged trauma, our decisions often reflect what we were taught to fear, avoid, or suppress. You might have chosen a partner to avoid being alone, not because it felt safe or fulfilling. You might have taken a job because it offered stability, even though it drained you. You might have built a life that checked all the boxes but left you feeling so incredibly empty. You might have said yes to expectations because saying no felt too risky. Trauma just doesn't live in our past. It lives in our patterns, our daily choices. And so many of these patterns show up as decisions we made when we didn't know there was another way. Here's what I want you to hear. You did the best you could with the nervous system you had. You made those choices to stay connected, safe or seen, even if they cost you. That's not failure, that's survival. And now you have permission to reevaluate. You get to ask yourself, what do I want now? What do I want now? In what way today, right now, can you protect a small part of your peace? I'm not asking you to change your whole life and jump feet first into the deep end. I'm asking you to find one thing you can do for yourself today, in this moment, in this day, in the 24-hour period you have, to reclaim, to protect a little bit of your peace. By answering the question, what do I want now? What does alignment look like with the tools, the healing and truth I hold today? If I'm not quite ready to take action, what do I need to do? What support, what resource do I need to do to help me get to an action step to better protect my peace? Get a therapist, get a life coach, go to a support group, online or in person. You can do all these virtually from the comfort of your own home or in person, whatever fits your needs. Your past doesn't define your future, my friends, but it can help you move forward with more clarity and definitely more compassion with yourself. You only know what you know until you know different. And then when you know different, you can pivot and problem solve. Who you were in your 20s and 30s may not be who you are now, and that's okay. If you feel like you don't fit, where can you better fit? Let's slow down. Let's take a breath together. Let's relax. So just first deepen your breath in whatever natural way you want. Just take a nice deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. All right, if you can, place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, or whatever you're doing, relax your grip of what you got going. Today, I'd like to try a different breath. I want us to inhale through our nose, and like I just asked you to, exhale through the mouth with a ha sound. So inhale deeply, exhale. It can be loud, it can be quiet, it can be dramatic. Just let that ha sound come out. Inhale deeply. Exhale, let it out. One more time. Inhale completely. Exhale out. Nice. Doing this type of breath for a minute and a half can regulate your nervous system in the moment. Can clear the mind a little bit, quiet the noise. The little ADHD brain can mellow it out a little bit. So feel free to set a timer for a minute and 30 seconds throughout the day and just breathe deeply. As long as your exhale is longer than your inhale and you're taking big belly breaths, it will regulate your nervous system. All right, now that we're somewhat calmer, I have a few questions I'd like you to ponder while continually to breathe deeply. You don't necessarily have to ha it, but practice it. It's a good one. Here we go. Ask yourself gently, with compassion and without judgment. What did I choose out of survival that no longer fits? What did I choose out of survival that no longer fits? Second question, here we go. What do I know now that I didn't know then? Yeah? What do you know now that you didn't know then. Acknowledging growth, acknowledging that the past you didn't know, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Third and final question for pondering. What is one small choice? Yeah, I've got you going on this one. One small choice you can make today from truth, not fear. What small decision, small choice can you make today from truth, not fear? I invite you to let these questions move through you softly. You don't need to fix everything or anything. Just listen, just notice. Take some time to yourself to answer these questions. Ponder them throughout the day or over the next week, and take one small step towards living on your own terms. When it comes to the stages of change, there are quite a few stages before you take action. Stage 1 is you learn about it. Here you go. We're learning today. Step 2 is you think about it. Just asked you some questions to help you with that stage of change to think about it. Stage 3 is you plan about it. So that's you. Once you've learned and thought, you can formulate a plan. Stage 4 is action. So then you can take action. Stage 5 is just continuing that action. 6 is possibly relapsing, which we all do. We fall off the wagon, so to speak. And then the last stage is to repeat it. Get right back on. You just loop it. That's learning. That's change. So give yourself compassion, patience, and understanding. Thank you for spending this time with me on The Awakened Heart, a podcast for healing women. I hope today's episode offered you something to hold on to, a truth, a nudge, a breath of relief, because making choices when we have unhealed trauma is just for our survival. And please let yourself acknowledge and know that you did the best you could with what you had. Depending on our conditioning, our childhood upbringing, our environments, our internal pressures, our daily stressors, we only know what we know until we're able to know different. We're able to know differently. Let me be proper, but be gentle with yourself, right? Don't judge yourself for the mistakes you perceive you've made or the mistakes you say you've made. Like, we make mistakes. That's part of learning. That's part of life. Like, it's required for growth. So have some compassion for yourself. You were doing your best with what you had. If this touched your heart, I'd love for you to follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a review or send me a note at the end about this episode. Every bit of love helps this space grow. You can find more support and soul-nourishing resources over in my link tree, including my Instagram page for the Empowering Wellness Hub, a Divine Women's playlist on Spotify for nothing but good vibes, good energy, and other free goodies to help you stay connected to your healing. And once again, if something in this episode moved you, send me a message. I truly love to hear what it stirred up in you. Until next time, keep choosing the version of you that feels most like freedom and most like peace. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.